Hey, welcome to lecture number 5 in the BitBadges development course, and this lecture will focus on sign in with BitBadges and what all you can do with it. So, sign in with BitBadges is a multi-chain authentication protocol where you can just outsource all your authentication, so verifying a user owns a specific address, to BitBadges using OAuth, which is an industry standard interface, easy to implement, easy to use, and so on. And BitBadges is kind of, or sign in with BitBadges is kind of an all-in-one wrapper for everything that we offer at BitBadges. So within this interface, you can um, grant certain scopes for the API. You can check badge ownership, it hooks in with the claim interface, so you can check all the claim criteria and all the integrations and plugins that we offer there. It also, you can provide specific attestations and stuff and provide those to the authentication provider. Um, and the cool thing with attestations is you can selectively reveal what you want to reveal to the authentication provider. So you can think of sign in with BitBadges as kind of like the sign in with Google equivalent. You just get redirected from a typical site or wherever to a authorized URL with the configuration in the request params. And then when you click the sign in button, there are kind of two flows that we offer. The first is to, once it loads, create a QR code, as you see here. So QR codes can be used for like gating in-person events, and they will be stored in your BitBadges account under the QR codes tab, as you saw here. But you can also save or export them to wherever you want, such as Apple Wallet, Google Wallet, or pretty much wherever you want. And pretty much the user will present this at authentication time, and then you, as the authentication provider, can scan this code. You'll get the text code, which is will look something like this, and then you will request the authentication from BitBadges. So this flow is kind of a way for you to pre-generate authentication, and this is kind of useful because, especially with crypto wallets and stuff, you might not have access to such at an in-person event. It's just a quick and easy way. It can be printed out, super easy to gate in-person events. So that is the first claim flow, or sign-in flow. The second is that we might redirect you back to like your application. So this is similar to just sign in with Google. You'll get redirected to like a site like this. Once you click sign in, we'll just redirect you back to the site or back to whatever it's configured, and it'll handle whatever is necessary on the site's end. So let's get started and look into how to integrate sign in with BitBadges into your site. So it follows an OAuth 2 flow. So if you're familiar with that, this stuff will look pretty familiar, but we'll go into depth with it. So first step is to set up an app, and this can just be done in the developer portal. Just go here, fill out the form, just super easy. And then if you are doing the QR code flow, you do not need the redirect URI, but if you are doing the digital flow, you do. And you'll get a client ID, which is going to be just an identifier for your app. And then you'll also get a client secret, which it'll tell you when you create it. And the client secret should never be revealed. That is used to prove that it is BitBadges. The origin of the sign-in request is BitBadges. So, sorry, let me rephrase that. It's used by BitBadges to prove that you are the one requesting and access from this app. So you'll see a little bit more of that later on. So once you get the client ID, secret, and URI, redirect URI, you have your app, and you can go ahead and get started customizing the authorization URL. So the easiest way to customize the authorization URL is just through this sign in with BitBadges URL feature here. It's just a helper interface on the site that walks you through every step of the way. So we didn't specify redirect URI, so we'll do QR codes, but you can also do digital. And we'll select our client ID from before. This was our app that we created in the developer portal. You can attach certain claims or ownership requirements, badge ownership requirements. You can select whether to expect to receive attestations or other sign-in or request certain scopes for the API. And once you've configured all of it, you will get a URL such as this. It'll be the authorized URL with your custom stuff. And so if we go to it, it'll look something like this, and just with all your configuration and parameters that you've set. Right, and just take note of that URL because that is what you are actually going to be redirecting to. So like when you see a sign in button, that is the URL that you will redirect to. Okay, and now the next step is the next step is actually getting the authorization code. So for the QR code flow, the authorization code is actually the QR code. So it is this value here, or this in text form. So when you scan it, this will be the authorization code. And then if you're using the redirect URI callback, you will the code will be in the query params. So you can just get it such as this. Will redirect to that URL, and then you can just parse the code there. So once you have the code, what you're going to do is you are going to actually find it. You have to exchange the code for an access token, or just exchange it for to prove that the user is authorized. So to do that, you will actually do something like this, where you call the BitBadges API and pass in the code, your options, the grant type will be authorization code when you're exchanging it, and then also the client secret ID and URI that you have for your app. And then upon success, we will return like all this stuff with all the details that are needed. So the address that was signed in, the chain that was signed in, whether it was successful, and like your attestations, the ownership requirements, the claims, everything. So the easiest way you can set up one of these redirect URIs is just through the Quick Start repository. So if you go to BitBadges Quick Start on GitHub, you can see that we provide an easy-to-use Quick Starter that just already implements sign in with BitBadges for you, minus your configuration. So as you see here, you can just simply sign in. Once you configure everything, it'll redirect you here, and you just configure it, and it'll walk you through that. So for that, you'll just need to set up your client secret ID and redirect URI in the .env file, and then also configure your the redirect or the authorization URL, and then also set up your handler. So here is your handler. Pretty much you just configure the options for verification. You configure whatever you need for custom requirements, and then just handle sessions on your own using pretty much any method you prefer. One thing that I want to note is that the verification step is really important in terms of like what options you choose, because claim IDs, ownership requirements, and so on have to be checked server-side as well. So you must specify the necessary stuff in the options, or at least check it on your end. So I would definitely read through this page here just to show like what is verified versus what is not. That's an important step for you to handle as a developer on your end. And yeah, I don't have time to go into all the details or stuff that you need to handle or consider, but just note that it is the verification flow is important to get right. So yeah, I'm not going to go too into depth about all the nitty-gritty of the code and stuff that's required. If you're interested in learning more about OAuth, there are plenty of resources online. But yeah, that's kind of how you add sign in with BitBadges to your site, and it's kind of compatible with all the services and integrations and everything we provide, and it's all in one place for you to gain access to and check that criteria and get it on your end and integrate it to your website.